Hello friends, welcome back to the Art Room with Mr. Eck. Today we're going to be working on a self-portrait. A self-portrait is a picture that an artist makes of themselves. It could be a drawing, a painting, anything like that, but it's a picture of yourself, specifically your face, your head, your shoulders, about, what you see of me right now. It's a portrait. And we're going to do a very special self-portrait though. I want you to imagine that you live in the 1800s in the Old West. And you are wanted. We're going to be making a wanted poster self-portrait. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, check out this wanted poster. This is a wanted poster I found of the famous outlaw Jesse James on Google. And the portion that we are going to be working on is just the picture area. So I want you to think what you would look like if you were an outlaw in the Old West. And we're going to be drawing that. And I'm going to show you step by step how to do that right now. So like I said, we're not going to be adding the wanted words and the reward and all that stuff. We're just focusing on the picture part of a wanted poster. So that means your face needs to be very large. It's the main part of this artwork. So I'm going to start off with a large U shape for my face and 2 lines for the neck. And then a bump that goes off the side and a bump that goes off the side. Let's see. We need the basics like ears, eyes. Normally I would have you guys draw smiley, happy portraits, but this time you're wanted, possibly for a bank robbery. So you should probably draw yourself kind of serious, maybe looking kind of mean. So to do that, I'm going to make my eyebrows go down kind of low. Yeah, I look pretty surly. And I'm going to have you guys bring your laptops so you can look at a picture. You can open up your camera and look at yourself while you're drawing. I think that helps a lot. So I'm going to have just kind of like a frowny face. Kind of sad. That'll work. Anyway, you guys don't have to worry about beards, obviously, because you're 4th graders. But I'm going to go ahead and add that. Since it's a self-portrait, I need a beard. Alright. And then how do we make this look like Old West? Well, number 1, you could do a bandana. So to do a bandana, you need kind of a V shape down here, or maybe like a pizza shape sort of. And erase your neck like that. That's the bandana that I could pull up around my face during my getaway. And you might want like some Old West clothes, like a vest. So it looked like my video froze for a second there while I was working on the bandana. So the other thing you missed is, if that is the case, is that I just added some lines here to represent like a vest. So it's got a vest on, there's a button for my vest. Now I'm going to show you how to draw a cowboy hat. It's a little bit tricky, but we'll break it down pretty simply. Alright, so cowboy hats usually came down just over the eyebrows, so I'm going to have a line that kind of comes down just a little bit, and then goes down to the above my nose, and then goes back up a little bit. So it's like a very, very wide V. And then a line that goes straight across. See how it makes like an upside down triangle? And you need a rectangle above that. And kind of an M shape for the top of the hat. And then the cowboy hat kind of goes down behind their head like this. Say there, it's my head. And there is a wanted poster self-portrait. So next I'm going to Sharpie this, and then I'm going to color it with some watered down yellow watercolors to try to give it that old-timey poster look. And then we're going to color it with colored pencils. So let's do that real quick. So now I have drawn and Sharpied my self-portrait, and for this project actually we don't need any kind of background because usually they didn't have those on these posters, so this is one of the rare times I'm saying don't draw a background. So I've got some watered down kind of dark yellow, it's called umber I believe, yellow watercolor paint, and we're going to paint the entire poster, the whole thing, with this yellow, and then we're going to let it dry. Now we'll give it that kind of old-timey paper look, and then after it's dry, we'll come back on another day and add some colors on top of that. I was going to do time-lapse, but this won't take long. So I'm literally just going to paint right on top of it, the whole thing. It's not very noticeable. Get it nice and wet, and then we're going to let that dry. We'll add more colors in the next step. Now that my self-portrait has had time to dry, it's time to add colors. And we're going to do that using colored pencils. And I want you to only use warm colors. Warm colors are colors that are related to orange, red, yellow, brown, any of these really. And so I've gotten all of the warm colors out of a group of my colored pencils, and I'm going to be using them to shade in my whole picture with color. A couple of things to remember before I get started, because I'm going to do time lapse. So I want to tell you first. Try to use as many different colors as makes sense. Like use more than one brown. Use darker browns in the shadowed areas. And my students in class are going to be using their laptops to look at their faces while we do this, using their camera. That way I want you to look at where the shadows are and what colors you see when you look at yourself. And then we're going to try to recreate that. So color lightly. Think about layering colors on top of each other. The more colors you use, the better this will look. The more you add highlights and shadows, the better this will look. Also, we're not going to worry about the background. We're going to leave the background just yellow, so it looks more like a traditional wanted poster. Alright, so I'm going to start coloring in my self-portrait right now. So here is my finished wanted poster self-portrait. If you see this man, contact the sheriff immediately. A couple things I wanted to point out is that you may have noticed that I picked a lighter color for my skin, for the hat, wherever, and I would do a light layer of that, and then I would go back over that with a similar but different darker color and kind of shade it in darker, and that gave me some nice effects. And there's some areas where after I'd colored it, I went over it with a white color pencil, which helps it blend a little bit. And at the end, I noticed that my color pencils had covered up my Sharpie lines, so I wanted to re-Sharpie my artwork so it looked nice and crisp with black lines, I'm going to leave that up to you. If you think you need to re-Sharpie again, then you can do that. And that's it. So, I hope you enjoy seeing yourself as if you were an outlaw in the Old West. I will see you next time in the art room.